Today we're going to expand upon the CRT Filter Hack, and you're going to need both RetroArch, HMod, the updated version that I post, along with the CRT Filter Hack. And they work in conjunction with one another, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. But we're going to start out with a game that does not run well with the CRT Filter Hack. Atari 7800 core does not function well at all with the CRT Filter Hack, but we're going to change that right now with the updated version that I posted. We're just going to go to display. CRT filter has to be enabled up here in order for it to make every game run with the hack. Now we're going to load Double Dragon. And you'll see the odd scan lines because it doesn't function well with this. It looks awful. That's an example of a game that runs bad with it. I'm going to show you a game that runs good with the hack. We'll do Arcade Final Fight, which runs phenomenally well with the hack. It's got extremely nice scan lines. I mean, everything looks top-notch visually. So we're going to go back to the previous test example, Double Dragon for Atari 7800, and we're going to change it to a filter that'll run more optimally with the hack. So we're going into RetroArch options, quick menu, then shaders. And remember where it says shader number 0, scanline GLSL. This is the one that you want to pick and change back to if you want to go back to the CRT hack. Just remember that, and I'll mention it again. So I'm going to this, and these are the 500 filters that I integrated into RetroArch. And we're going to use CRT Royal GLSLP, which works quite well with every core that I've tested it with. It has a perfect combination of sharpness and smoothness factor. So I click that. Now I'm going to apply changes. Then I'm going to go to resume. And it's nice and smooth all around. Now we're going to go into a different game. We're going to try a PlayStation 1 game, which doesn't work well with the CRT hack as well. One of my favorite earlier games for PlayStation 1, Jumpin' Flash. Again, I showed you in shaders. If you go into here, you'll want to click Scanline GLSLP. Sorry, Scanline GLSL, and that'll revert it back to CRT hack. You're going to see the weird scan lines just like in the Atari 7800 core. Looks completely awful. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did. And we're going to change it to that Royal one. If you move up and down, it does like a slow move up and down, but if you do right and left, it moves extremely fast. This works pretty much exactly like it does on a PSP. So Royal GLSLP, we're going to use that for the PlayStation core. Going to apply it. Resume. Everything looks a hell of a lot better now.
Ready to go?
Now we're going to do a little nifty trick. We're going to play an NES game that's typically really hard to play, and we're going to activate slow motion for it. We'll play Gradius. Now, it still has the Royal hack enabled right now, but if you happen to have one of these filters crash on you and go back in, it'll revert back to the scan line and you just have to select it again. You'll see what I mean if it happens to you. But right now we're going to go into RetroArch options, quick menu, shaders, and even though this says scanline GLSL, it isn't always going to be the CRT hack one unless you select it. But in this case, since I didn't have a crash or anything, it's fine where it's at. It's actually still the CRT Royal hack, despite it saying scanline. And that's because of the way I set up the CRT Filter Hack. And I'm going to show you another thing in a minute, but right now we're going to enable the slow motion. And you might be familiar with this really nifty puzzle game called Braid that was on Xbox 360. It had a rewind ability in the game, and that's what we're going to use here. It's the name of the filter that we're going to install. It's called Braid Rewind GLSL. You're going to apply it, resume. Welcome to slow motion. So you could make it through the entirety of Gradius fairly easily, even if you aren't leveled up with this slow motion hack, the Braid Rewind GLSL. Now I'm going to show you another thing that's really cool. You may be familiar with how Virtual Boy plays, and that's 3D pseudo style. How about we play an NES game in 3D? We're going to play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and we're going to play it in 3D. I haven't tested this with the glasses yet, but it's still a pretty nifty novelty. So we're going to open up Punch-Out. Notice how it's not running in slow motion? That's because it reverted back to the hack. So that's one thing you need to remember when you're going in the shaders here. Quick menu shaders. The only true way you're going to know that it's back at the CRT hack is if you go in here and select the scanline GLSL. Otherwise, it could be random on sticking to the last one that you chose, or the original one that I installed with the CRT hack. But anyways, we're going to go into a really cool 3D type thing right now. It's an anaglyph to side-by-side GLSL. We're going to apply it. Click resume. And now we have 3D Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Kind of a fun novelty. Of course you get a little bit of slow motion now because it's pretty CPU intensive, and Mini NES could only go so far. I'm going to show you another nifty hack that you can install, and like I said, there's a good 500 of these filters that I integrated into RetroArch, so you're going to have a lot to play around with. And if you, say for instance, you have a game that's running extremely slow because you pick a filter that does not run optimally, just go home. And I'm going to go home completely to the main GUI on the Mini NES. Then I'm going to select the same game again. And it reverted back, which is a good thing. That's how I have it set up. If you have something that does not run optimally, it should just revert right back to the scanline GLSL that I installed with the CRT hack. Now we're going to load another game here. Just giving another example of another filter we could use. We're going to load Super Mario Brothers. Shaders again. We're going to do something quite different here. We're going to pick Artifact Colors 0 GLSL and watch what happens. Now we got strange graphics. Like I said, there's a good 500 to play around with, and there's ones that'll work extremely well, ones that'll surprise you, and ones that you'll never want to use again. But I'm going to show you where the CRT Filter Hack comes into play now. I'm going to first revert back to the scanline that I installed with the CRT Filter Hack. And again, the scanline GLSL is the default one that you want to select. Now we're enabling that. Now I'm going back to the main GUI right now. I'm going up to display, and I'm going to 4.3 mode, which is disabling the CRT filter completely. And this is what it'll look like if you try running the CRT filter without my hack installed. With a modified hack, sorry. So we're going to go into a non-NES game. We'll try a Super Nintendo game. And we're going to do the exact same thing. And this is what would happen if you don't have CRT Filter Hack installed and you're on CRT mode. We're going in the quick menu, shaders. Notice you cannot select the shaders at all. This is what will happen if you do not have the CRT Filter Hack installed. But now we're going to go back to the CRT Filter Hack. And enable it. We're going to go back to the game. And I'm just using the standard CRT Filter Hack right now with the nice nifty scan lines. And R-Type is Super R-Type is another game that can be pretty difficult. Let's try slow motion on this game and see how it works with the hack. So we're going to go into our quick menu, shaders. We're going to change the default scan line to the braid rewind again. Now we got slow motion. And we can switch it right back. Same way. We'll go to the scan line, which is the default one. Now when you go to click apply changes, if you're unable to move it right away, then you most likely ran into a filter that's not going to run well, and you're better off just going to the main GUI. And if you have a problem where it's taking forever to go back to the main GUI and you shut your system down, it's going to be fine when you turn it back on, so don't worry about that. So I'm applying the changes, and I'm able to move quick, which means it worked just fine. Now I'm back to the game. And one more little thing that I got a kick out of here. We're going to do one other filter that I found that I get a little kick out of here. We're going to load NES Mike Tyson's Punch-Out one more time. And we're going to play it underwater. Underwater Tyson fight. So we're going to go to our quick menu, shaders. We're going to do water, filter, and 1080p GLSL. Enable it. Now we're playing underneath the water against Tyson. And some slow motion to boot. And there we go. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm posting both of these for you to try out, and they'll be integrated into my full set tomorrow.